All right, so let's look at what positions of need must be filled. This is going to be our last question for 2022. As a lot of people said at the beginning of the show, the recruiting class is not over. A lot of people like to pretend that the recruiting class ends in this week, but there's still a lot of time. There's actually more players not committed this year than any year in the before, as they've been doing this early signing period. There's a lot of guys who haven't had the visits they want to have. And I'll tell you that about visits right now, according to the calendar, there's a dead period until January 14th. And then on January 14th to January 29th, there is the contact period. That means they can go visit them on their terms, and they can come to our campus as well. So it's complete open season right there. So for those let's say 2 weeks, 2 days, there's a big movement there. And then National Signing Day will be February 2nd, the first Wednesday of February. First February of Wednesday, Al.
You got there.
I don't expect much to happen right now. I expect there to be a dead period because it is a dead period until January 14th. And then I can expect get in on Twitter and on the paid sites and things like that, because there's going to be a lot going on. You get in on our channel because there's going to be a lot of us posting things about what's going on with those recruits those weeks. So the last half of January is going to be hot. Now, Al, Houston, I'll start with you. What positions right now are positions, if you haven't been following recruiting, what positions do Clemson need to fill, like with at least one player by February 2nd?
At least one. You got to have somebody on the defensive line. I think they're going to go after that. I think at least one more you need is a linebacker. You'll probably sign two if you read the tea leaves right. But I think they're proactively looking around for that. One name to bear in mind for that, TJ Dudley. And if they get in for that, this class is going to look really good. And then third would be on the offensive side. The only position really is running back. All eyes are on Trevor Etienne, but I think there is a certain running back out of Texas that, I mean, I don't want to talk too much about it, but let's just say I won't be angry if that's the choice that Clemson decides to go with.
You don't want to put the name out there?
If Trevor Etienne does sign with Clemson, good on him. I'm happy. I'm happy with Trevor Etienne. I'm not mad about it. But if he doesn't, and there's a certain other running back out of Texas that I don't want to jinx this, that does sign with Clemson, I'm going to be perfectly fine with that.
All right, Big Al, do you agree with his assessment? Is there any needs that he missed? Or
I would say we need
that you're looking to get?
I think we need a safety after Sab left. I don't think there's a ton of depth there, but I agree with everything else he said. I'd like another linebacker. We thought we were going to get one in Koenig, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. And you know, we've missed on a couple, and in fact, the defensive line, we have to have a defensive end to me in this class. I would like a tackle too. I would like at least one of each, honestly, because like you said, going into the season, one defensive tackle, two ends was kind of the number at least I was operating with, and I would be happy with that. But yeah, Houston pretty much nailed it, and on offensive side as well, running back definitely.
As the way it stands right now, fellas, when I'm looking at 2023, you know, I got my charts out there that I've been making and developing. They basically are going to have to take a 25-person class next season.
Absolutely.
If they don't take a 25-person class, they're going to be even more behind. It's going to be a disaster. They're going to continue to try to fight this uphill battle. So it's everything, all signs are pointing to, even if they get the guys they want, I feel like all signs are pointing to they need about 25 right now, considering people are going to go in the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking if this class isn't big, 2023 definitely has to be big. As far as players that are not decided, according to Tiger Illustrated's or ClemsonRivals.com, that have been currently offered by Clemson: Keith Adams Jr., running back; Trevor Etienne, all-purpose back; Ernest Green, offensive guard, undecided; Hero Kanu, defensive tackle; Shamar Stewart, defensive end;
Mm-hmm.
Cyrus Moss, defensive end, which we've done a video on him;
Mm-hmm.
TJ Dudley, outside linebacker, Montgomery; Denver Harris, cornerback, Houston; Domani Jackson, cornerback, California; Jacoby Matthews, safety, which we did a video on him, but then he committed to LSU and then he decommitted. Alfonso Allen, safety. Larry Turner, Gooden, safety. Daniel Martin, safety, linebacker mix there. And then you've got a verbal but not committed Jaron Kanak. Here's what I think about Jaron Kanak before we get into that list of 13 players. Jaron Kanak, I think what's going to happen is, I think what Brent Venables has said, hey, this is just my opinion here. I think Brent Venables has said, hey, I have a gentleman's agreement with Dabo Swinney that I'm not going to steal any of his committed recruits. They traveled the country the week before, and he kind of knew that he was going to go to Oklahoma, or there was a good chance. And it's documented that he said to each recruit, you should stay at Clemson. And he pitched for Clemson. He did not pitch for Oklahoma. It's not Brent Venables' way to pitch against Clemson. According to Darren Rencher, he was at graduation today. Brent Venables with a Clemson pin on his jacket. So this guy has a lot of heart left in Clemson. But Jaron Kanak, I think the best, if he really wants to follow Brent Venables, I think the best way to handle it is to say, commit at the 0 hour at the end on signing day. I mean, you don't want to commit early, because then that kind of shows disrespect to other people that you told you weren't going to do that. But maybe you wait till the last minute and let him commit to Oklahoma at the end. Or you just say, hey, with the transfer portal the way it is, go to Kansas State and then come to Oklahoma the next year. Who cares? I mean, it's not like anybody has any loyalty anymore. So, or go to Clemson and then come to Oklahoma the next year. But I know they're not going to do that. We've already seen writing on the wall with Jaron Kanak. I don't know if you guys have any complete opposite opinion, but it seems like he's probably going to go to Oklahoma eventually, one way or another.
Yeah, I would agree. Whether it's Oklahoma or not, I don't think it's going to be Clemson, at least where things stand
that's
right
the
now.
big part. Yeah. All right, so of those 13 fellas, this will be our last thing, and then we're going to sign off. But of those 13 guys I mentioned, anybody strike you as somebody that they can go re-recruit that hasn't, or maybe put some more eggs in the basket for some of those guys?
Can you do a real quick rundown of that again?
Yeah, so we've got Keith Adams Jr., running back from Utah. Yep. Trevor Etienne, running back from Louisiana. Ernest Green, offensive guard from California. Mm-hmm. Hero Kanu, defensive tackle from California. Shamar Stewart, defensive end from Florida. Cyrus Moss, defensive end from Vegas. TJ Dudley, defensive end from Montgomery, Alabama. Denver Harris, cornerback from Houston, Texas. Domani Jackson, cornerback from California. Jacoby Matthews, safety from Louisiana. Alfonso Allen, safety from Miami. Larry Turner Gooden, safety from Mission Hill, California. Daniel Martin, safety linebacker from Marietta, Georgia.
Yeah, I think out of that list, the ones that at least I think we could potentially have traction with, Dudley would be the number one on my list. I think Houston mentioned him earlier. I wouldn't hurt to see him go again, or with Jacoby Matthews as well, the safety. So those would be kind of the two guys that I would think. I have no idea, what Matthews' thinking is, if he's even interested in Clemson anymore or not, but he was initially. So we'll see how it goes.
Hey, before I do that, I just want to address somebody in the comments. Somebody's telling everyone that Brent Venables is coaching the bowl game. He is not. It is Wes Goodwin coaching the defense. Wes Goodwin is coaching in practice. They've documented this. Brent Venables is at Oklahoma. So there's that. I just want to address that here. TJ Dudley, yes, that is number one. I think that's going to be someone they go after. I also think there's going to be a list of probably, 7, 8 to 10 recruits that they're probably going to start to pursue to get those needs. Mm-hmm. And so I think there's going to be some names that we don't see yet that they're going to extend out to in the next couple of days.
Yep.
I'm going to put that in the chat. Wes Goodwin, Mickey Khan are coaching the bowl game. I don't want anybody to be to have any kind of confusion there. So, all right. So John gets in, says Cyrus Moss, both top schools he was looking at had coaching changes. So, we did a video on him. We think he's good. We like what we see with his film, at least from his junior year. But we appreciate everybody getting in.